Hello, welcome back. I'm out in the shop and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Instead, I was looking at some of my old videos over a year ago, year and a half ago. I did one on surface grinding, surface grinder fix, when my surface grinder was having all kinds of problems. And I did it in multiple videos. And I spent well over an hour showing people how I was going to fix my problem. The problem with the grinder was, instead of surface grinding it nice and flat, it was putting scallops in it. It's like I couldn't understand why that was happening. I thought, I'm going to have to take this whole thing apart and figure out what's going on. Well, I eventually did, and I fixed it, and it really works nice now. But after looking at all those videos, I go, there's over an hour worth of video there. And I thought, I bet you I could make this into a very informative video in less than 15 minutes. So I thought, let's get into that. I'm Glenn Nowakowski, and you're watching Glenn Now on YouTube. My surface grinder, Central Machinery 6x12. Yeah, you got it. It's a Harbor Freight surface grinder. There's a rack and pinion type thing on it where this here, going up and back. The rack and pinion, that surface grinder picks up every gear tooth and puts it on the part I'm trying to grind. Okay, the first thing I'm going to have to do here is pull that magnet off of there and then yank the table off. Okay. I was on the internet, I talked to a few people. I learned a lot about gearing, but the main thing I learned is I do not have the tools to correctly measure a gear. But what I did come up with is a way to figure out if the people who built this machined it correctly, so that the gears are meshing correctly. Because if they're not, that could be my problem with this grinder. This surface sits on this surface. This pinion here meshes with this gear rack. So what I have to do to get a halfway decent measurement is go from this surface, measure down to where the gear rack is bolted onto, get a dimension here. Record that dimension, and then take the gear rack off of that slide or table and place it onto the gear rack, propping it up so it is level with this surface. When it is level, parallel, get a dimension from the top of that gear rack down to here. And it should be within a couple of thousandths. Okay, I'm going to wipe this out a little bit. Off the surface, wipe off my micrometer, dump like that down here. let's see. I have 300, 25, 35, 30, 37 and 5/10. 337 and 5/10. Okay. What I want to do is take this, clean it up a bit, and put it on the surface grinder there with these teeth meshing with the pinion gear, and then get a dimension, like I said, from the back of this down to the surface that this rides on. All right, like I said, have to make sure that's parallel at its extreme ends, at least. I think this thing is bowed a little bit. So yeah, it's about 3 inches in. And I bring this down to 0. And I come to this here end. We're gonna go with the 290 and see how could I be that lucky. Okay. Let's make sure this is set at 0. At 0. 0 on this end. We'll come down to this end. It's within 5/10. I would say that's good. $271. Well, no wonder. Them gears are just banging against the gear rack. Okay, like I said, I measured this. That was 0.337. And if you subtract what I have on the gear rack, here, when I set it on the gear rack, that was, minus 0.271 equals 66 thousandths difference. I bet you a 1/16 shim would work just fine. It'd be a lot better than the way it is. 66 thousandths. Man, they know some precision stuff in China. Let's make those shims. I'm just going to bandsaw them off. And then I'm going to have to cut one of these sides off a little lower, just so it don't interfere with the gear rack. And then there's a couple of spots I just have to clear away so the bolts go through. It's nothing fancy. The only thing I need is the one surface to lift it up. All I have to do is notch this out over here. things are nothing special. It was just a 062 I was looking for across here, just to lift that up. Yeah. I guess it's just a matter of putting this back on there. Don't need to put a real lot on here. Just enough so the surface is covered. That's how I feel anyway. We'll see. Lock her on. That ain't going anywhere. Let's dress this thing. Okay, the wheel's sharp, dressed. I have a piece of 1018. Put that baby on there. Smack down. Okay. Looks pretty good. Wow. That is nice. Okay, I think I accomplished what I set out to do, was make that large 1 hour video or 3 videos into a smaller package. I think it's a lot more informative that way. Holds your interest. So I'm going to call that a wrap. So until next time, enjoy.